started off in SGA as a senator my sophomore year, a position in which I remain to this day. Starting spring semester my sophomore year, I became the parliamentarian. And so the parliamentarian's basically the guru of parliamentary procedure. They're the person who, if there's any procedural problem in Senate, the president turns to for questions. So I learned the language of the Senate very quickly, and I learned how to conduct meetings effectively and efficiently. So what's my vision as vice president? My vision is a Senate that can work effectively and can work fast to get your ideas as students, quickly enacted into law. Get those ideas passed through the SGA Senate fast so you can see meaningful change on campus. Because really, all progress that comes out of SGA has to go through the Senate first. It all has to be written up as legislation before anything can happen. So it's imperative that you not only have a strong Senate packed with strong senators, but a strong, engaging vice president.
Thank you. Okay, next is Owen Terry, who is running with the presidential candidate Anne-Marie Schulke. You may begin.
Thank you, Jordan, and thank you all for allowing me to be here tonight. Again, my name is Owen Terry. I'm a junior communication studies major from Laurel, Mississippi. Going through my college search here my senior year, I looked around a lot of places in the state and around the Southeast. When I came to Southern Miss, I saw something different that I didn't see everywhere else. I saw a community that was united by service. And service has always been a great part of my life. I was heavily involved in the Red Cross in Jones County, and so I knew that where I wanted to go, I wanted to be able to serve, and Southern Miss was the place for me. As soon as I got here, I began in the Student Government Association Freshman Associates. I've also served on the Student Government Association Election Commission, and now I currently serve in the SGA Senate. I also served this previous year on Southern South 2012, and with my involvement in these organizations, I feel compelled to a leadership role as a servant leader in the Student Government Association as Vice President. Now, through this role, I hope to innovate the programs currently carried out by the Senate. I also hope to communicate more adequately with students and with university administration, and I hope to restore the Student Government Association as a viable body for the student body opinion. And I thank you all, and hope to tell you more about my platform points tonight throughout the debate.
Thank you both. Next, we will have our platform-specific questions. Owen, you will go first. You will have 1 minute to answer. Your platform-specific question is, describe legislation that you think would push the limits of SGA. Give an example if possible.
Yes, absolutely. To push the limits of SGA, we used to do things like the Pain Center in the Student Government Association. I believe we have a lot of unused potential. For instance, the Student Activities Hub, which is currently right now being used by our School of Music, yes, I understand, but I believe that that open space at the post office could be used for many more things, possibly another food venue instead of just Seymour's, because we know it all gets crazy there during lunchtime in the lines. Maybe just some additional seating in that area, but I believe our university should allocate funds to renovate that facility to be more useful for our students, because right now only about half of that building is used.
Thank you. Next is Michael Sims. Your platform-specific question is, what would you like to accomplish by setting the stipend cost of the President, Vice President, and Attorney General to the cost of tuition?
Great question, Jasmine. A big part of this is visibility. It makes SGA look good so that you have all the executive officers whose stipends don't exceed the cost of tuition. Because really the idea behind this is our stipend is coming out of your tuition money. So it's not right that we should be making a profit off of your tuition. That's why we're setting the executive stipends at a maximum of $2,700, or the cost of tuition for one semester. Now what that lets us do is it lets us take the savings that we took from reducing the stipends and then putting it towards more meaningful plans. We can use it to increase the amount of money available for student organizational fundings, so more organized organizations can get funding from SGA to do the projects that they want to pursue.
Thank you. From now on, you will both answer the same questions. Michael, you will go first. For the past several years, many Senate positions have gone uncontested. As Vice President, how would you make the Senate to be more powerful, progressive, and effective student organization?
Excellent question. Well, I already talked about my experience in Senate and why I think I'm a good leader. And so a lot of Senate's effectiveness comes with being able to run the meetings in an organized way. But another huge factor that has an impact on signing up for Senate or applications and contesting Senate seats is Senate visibility. Do students see what the Senate is doing? Do they like what they're seeing? Do they believe in the Senate as a body that can make meaningful change on campus? And so one of the ways that I'd like to increase the visibility of Senate on campus is, first of all, doing little things like, for example, having meetings outdoors. Having one meeting every semester where we may, maybe, for example, go out on Centennial Lawn, gavel in a meeting right there in the middle of campus, and so any students who walk by can see what the Senate does and see what change we can make on campus. Another thing to do is have a weekly executive column in the student prints, so all the SGA executives can explain what has happened in SGA for the past week. That way students can see what's happening in SGA and see that change is possible through SGA.
That's your time, thank you. Owen, same question, you may begin.
Yes, throughout this campaign, I've been talking to various student organizations on campus, and one thing that I've found is many student organizations do not know what the Student Government Association does. And I think that is a huge problem, and it has to do, like Michael said, with visibility. I believe a great way to get this point across that SGA is something that's viable for the student body is by encouraging our student media representatives like the student prints, WUSM, to attend our Senate meetings in order to publicize them, to create excitement about the Senate, to create a sense of excitement where people want to get involved and want to run for those positions in the spring so that they'll realize the actual potential that that governing body has.
Thank you. Next question, Owen, you will go first. Specifically, what are some legislative ideas that you would like to bring to the table?
Yes, well, I've already answered one of those with the Student Activities Hub renovation, but also I believe that we should have an easier way for students to be able to view away athletic events. A lot of people we don't get CBS Sports Network on campus, so I believe we should be able to lobby with the administration to be able to figure out some way to get that network on campus so our students can watch those television games without having to go pay $10 for a Mugshots burger. Maybe we can do that by renovating the theater that's right down the hall that hasn't been finished yet so that we can actually screen athletic events in there on the screen that you can get in for free with your student ID. And I believe these are some great things and things that are important to the students and to athletics as well. And that room can also be used for academic meetings, for the history department's video series and things of that nature as well.
Thank you, Owen. Michael, same question.
So glad you asked that question, Jasmine, because there are several projects we're working on right now in Senate that I would love to be able to pass through as Vice President. A big project we're working on, and this is one that, in the words of Jasmine, would really push the boundaries of Senate, test what it's capable of, is our package of res life reforms. As you may know, the current visitation hours in the dorms start at 11 a.m. A big push we want to make is to move that back to at least 9 a.m. That way students will be able to check into residence halls earlier, be able to do studying early in the morning if they want to, work on projects before classes. But another big thing is completely revamping the Res Life visitation policy so that if you're an on-campus resident and you want to visit a residence hall of the same sex, you won't have to check in as an ordinary guest. You would just be able to swipe your ID at the computer system, it would see that you're a resident, and you wouldn't have to go through this arduous check-in process. Res Life knows who you are. They know you're a student, so it's absurd that they should treat you like any other person. They know you're not going to do any harm in the Res Life Hall. So that's a project I really look forward to working on.
Thank you. Next question, Michael, you'll go first. If the elected president was unable to fulfill his or her role, what is one critical issue you would focus on?
Thank you, Jasmine. I believe the most important thing we're looking at right now, if you look at our platform, is our SG Agents program. I'm sure Brandon's going to talk to you about it in his section. But our SG Agents program is the program we're proposing whereby if you want to get involved in SGA but you don't have the time to commit to, say, a full year of service, you'll be able to sign up for a temporary committee set up for specific events like Eagle Palooza or Homecoming, and then you'd serve for the duration of that event. After that event's over, your obligation is complete, but you'd still get the experience, you'd still get the leadership experience, you get the resume booster that SGA provides without the full commitment if you can't afford it. Because honestly, not everybody can afford a full year on SGA. So this way we're really opening up SGA to more students, making it more accessible. That, I believe, is our most important proposal, and that's a project I would focus on #1 if Brandon were to become incapacitated.
Owen, same question.
Yes, one thing that's a part of Anne Marie and I's platform is communication. And I believe that at this day and age, there's no reason why our social media and web page design is not more suitable for student involvement. We are not able to reach out to our students as well because of these problems, and this is something that needs to be fixed. This can also create excitement about Student Government Associated and encourage more involvement. And this is not only for communication between students and the SGA, but also between the SGA and administration. And that's something that we also want to focus on as well, is our communication with our university administration. Because those are the people who we need to get input on for legislation as well as support. Once we have what the students want, we go to them and get them on board as well. So communication is probably the biggest thing.
Thank you. Last question for the vice presidential candidates. Owen, you will go first. What would you do to keep your senators motivated and involved in the legislation process?
One thing I want to require my senators to do is conduct bi-weekly surveys in their respective colleges. We all know our senators are assigned to their respective colleges, those who elect them, and I believe that we really need to be getting out there every other week to see what the students really want. And these surveys don't have to be extensive. They can just be 3 or 4 questions. That way, a lot of people want to fill them out. They can just take 30 seconds out of their time. But this is a way to keep our senators engaged and keep their ideas fresh. And because sometimes, in the Senate, in my brief experience that I've had in the Senate, I found that, legislation is sometimes difficult to find. However, if our students are giving us involvement every other week, that shouldn't be a problem, because I know our students have tons of great ideas, because the students at the University of Southern Mississippi are among the best in the nation.
Thank you. Michael?
This really is an important issue for Senate, because honestly, if morale among senators is low, you're not going to get progress done. I take great inspiration from the first vice president I served under, Jeff McClendon, because one thing he would do week in, week out, is send us emails reminding us exactly how important to campus we were, letting us know that we were an integral part of SGA and that the work we did was crucial to campus success. So I'd bring that back. I'd make sure my senators know exactly how important they are. Another thing to help boost the morale among senators is to do monthly retreats. Not where we're working on legislation, but we're just going off doing something fun as a group, hanging out as a group of friends. That way we become a close-knit family. We learn each other inside and out, and we know how to work with each other. It would keep us fresh, it would keep us motivated, and would remind us exactly what kind of duty we're serving on campus.
Thank you, vice presidential candidates. You may take your seats.